Good afternoon on a Friday. Today has been so wonderful, full of family time and a little bit of R&R from my week. I hope your guys' weekends are equally as awesome. I love the weekend. Have you guys ever been motivated to change something, do something? You've had the fire lit, you've got that desire, you've felt the pain points, all those things we've been talking about in the last 4 days, and you're like, okay, I'm ready for it. I believe it. I am going to speak this into my life, and you're going to go for it. Now what do you do? Okay? So I have been there. I would like to share an example about, it's kind of personal, and it has to do with my faith. So bear with me here if you're not a big faith person, or I don't know, but there was a time when I really struggled with faith, and I was struggling with, not that I didn't think it was, I don't know, I was just struggling with truth and trying to understand a lot of things that were hard to understand, right? That's what faith is. And I found myself questioning a lot of things that I had either grown up with, which is good. I think it's really healthy to question things and to find the truth for yourself. But this is where I was. And I had seen other people in the world, question different, beliefs, whether they're cultural or values or whatever it was. And I've seen the sides of two coins. There's people that would dive into it like more hardcore than they'd ever dived in before, dove, whatever. And they would immerse themselves, say it's for faith. They would immerse themselves in scriptures. They would really, they would go to church really religiously, like consistently. They would pray really deeply and all the time. And they were really diving into that thing to just fill it out, find the foundational footing, and see if that matched their faith and what they felt was true. And then I found that there was some people that would go to outside sources, and they would read what they had to say about it and go off a lot of their perspectives and their ideology. And so then they would, basically it's like they were questioning what they were doing, but then they abandoned it. And so they never really, I don't think they ever really got answers because they didn't actually dive in to find the truth. And so I went through this process and I thought, well, it's been my finding that when I'm confused about something or I don't understand, I got to go direct to the source. Like I got to go, if I don't understand something in a book, like I will go as far, you guys, as to like email the authors. You know how they always have like contact the authors for questions at the end of books? Maybe you guys don't even know that, but a lot of times they do. And I will like find out like what they were talking about, or when there's a source at the back of the book where they got this information, I will like go to my computer and look it up and find out what they were talking about. That's just me. I love to learn. I love to absorb knowledge so that I don't know, it's just something I love to do. I like to know truth, and that's how I go about finding it, is I try to go direct to the source. And so I did this in my faith. And because I was struggling, and I was just like, I've got to figure some things out. So I started praying more. I started doing those things. I started immersing myself in the Bible and the scriptures. And I'm going to tell you this experience that I had that really solidified that was the right thing to do. Because this one day I was sitting at my kitchen table and I was reading scriptures and I was really pondering, and I read a passage about how Jesus wants to be in our lives, but we have to knock. We have to ask. We have to ask him and invite him in. And I read another article by a very wonderful person, and they talked about how Jesus is like waiting at our doors, but we have to open and let him in. And not only that, but as busy moms have a lot to do, we have a lot on our plate, we have a lot of things we're trying to improve all the time, we're watching our kids, we're doing so many good things in the world, but it can be a heavy burden. It can feel very heavy. And this wonderful article pointed out, well, Jesus would love to help you with that. And I thought, how can Jesus help me with that? He's not physically like in my house, right? And anyway, I came to the realization that I had to let him. It's like he's standing there in my kitchen while I'm bustling around trying to do stuff and calm my child, instead of, can you help me calm my child? Asking him actively, intentionally, choosing to believe that he's there and to ask for his help. And over time, this became a consistent thing I was doing. And before long, my peace and my personal, the love that I felt from God and those kind of things, was increasing in an amazing amount. I didn't expect that to happen. And I didn't feel heavy anymore because I got in the habit of asking Jesus to help me to carry these things. And so he did. It was amazing how I felt that. And it was a wonderful, wonderful thing for my faith. And I had a couple other experiences, but this act of diving in deeper to the source was where I ultimately found a foundation of truth and feelings I'd never had before. And I made sure to record that so that I could remember, because I'm sure other times in my life, stuff just happens, right? It's going to be hard. And you need to dig in, like I said, to good sources. To if you're going to dive in about food and exercise, look for medical journals that are accredited and stuff. Not just, you can find anything you want online. You can find that Twinkies are healthy online if you want. It's ridiculous what you can find online. So you have to be careful with your sources. But at the end of the day, I became conscious of my choice to have God in my life every day. And it has made me so much stronger in my faith than I ever was before. So much more grounded and foundational and peaceful and lighter. And it was amazing. And so my message to you is, whatever you've been thinking about this week that you want to tackle in your life, that you need to be more proactive about to make it come to pass, you can. You can do it. We've talked about the different steps to get there. And obviously this isn't all encompassing. We could do so many more lessons on this topic, but these are kind of some of those basic things that can get you started. But you can do this. It's a choice. It's a choice you get to make every day to become intentional and responsible with your choices. So that's the fifth lesson, is becoming aware that it's your choices, you make them, and then consistently taking responsibility for what happens, and then keep going. So realizing that it's your choice, realizing you get to take responsibility for those choices, and you get to claim that for yourself. Whatever it is, you get to do that. And it's really, really exciting once you start realizing that your choices is how your life is created. So being proactive and having an abundant life all stems from your own choice. You choose to either see this as half full, half empty, that it's just a glass of water. Whatever your choice is, you get to become responsible in all of your choices and intentional. So I want to share an example of a marathoner. When you're thinking of, okay, well, what does that look like to make intentional choices, and how is that going to change my life? I can make an intentional choice to get up every day and eat my breakfast, but anyway, a marathoner, they have to track their time, they track their distance, they track what they eat. They're so scrupulous about everything to make sure they don't go out and die out there, right? It is a big deal to run 26.2 miles, and so they track everything. When you're trying to make this change, not only do you need to dive into the sources, but mark the ones that felt like truth to you. Come back to them. Track your progress. When you're, say you're going to try to lose weight, you've got to track what you ate. You've got to track how you felt. You need to track, what your digestion was like that one day. And you'll start to see the loopholes of where things disconnect. A marathoner will come back after a run and be like, man, that was amazing. What did I eat that day? Or, man, I was dragging on that run. What did I eat last night that just killed my energy? And you start to find these loopholes of how to improve. And You'll do the same thing when you start a change in your life. You need to start being intentional about noticing, okay, I felt really peaceful on this day. What did I do? What was different? And start to collect that data. And the days that are bad, it's not that you were a failure that day. It's a day that you got to invest in learning what didn't work so you don't make the same mistake again. It's awesome. So you'll learn to just track stuff. And the biggest thing, you guys, is to just begin. You've got so many of these other lessons under your belt, but you've got to make the conscious choice to start. And then take responsibility for what happens every day and choose to track it and to become real with it. And you will find that this is a saying that I have loved that I heard a couple years ago, that consistency creates a craving. And isn't that true? The more you do something, say checking Facebook on your phone or going to the drive-thru and getting that big 32-ounce whatever, or whatever your routine is, the more you do it, you will create a craving in your brain for it. So as you guys are making these changes in your life to speak more abundance, to be conscious of your choices, going towards something you really want, do it again and again and again. And you guys, that might mean sometimes you're going to do it without emotion. It might be just going through the motion. Even though you really want that donut, you have to just turn it off, and you've got to go and eat like a strawberry. And you're not going to be super happy about it. You might even be irritable for a while about it. That's going to happen. And it doesn't mean you shouldn't do it. Just realize that's part of the game. That's part of change. Sometimes there won't be emotion with it, and it's okay. But you have to keep acting. And if you do it over and over and over, you will begin to create that craving. And before you know it, the compound effect will happen. Those little choices over time will add up to something. And you will be amazed in just 3 months, 6 months, a year, how different your life has become. I started being way more conscious about my time management in my day 3 years ago. And it has completely transformed my life in how our finances are, our retirement. Like, we are so much further ahead in our lives in the 3 years that I've been doing this than we were for the first 11 years of our marriage. So don't discount what can happen in a relatively short amount of time with a little bit of consistency. But it's your conscious choice, and your conscious choice to be responsible to start creating that craving for whatever it is that you want. I'm so excited you guys were on this 5th and final lesson. I know that it's kind of a deeper one. It's something you're going to have to figure out for yourself because all of us have a different goal. But I am going to do a giveaway, and I thought, okay, today's lesson was about choices and intention, and I thought, what's my favorite thing to make a choice about? And I love Amazon. So call me quirky or whatever, but when you comment below with a conscious choice that you're going to start making, and give yourself a little bit of a challenge, something that's going to stretch you. So, for 7 days in a row, I'm going to eat breakfast within an hour of waking up. Or 7 days in a row, I'm going to drink water at this time of day instead of my big Diet Coke or whatever it is. But I want to see what you guys are going to do and give yourself a little challenge period to do it. But everybody that comments, I'm going to just put into a drawing. And you can comment for the next 24 hours. So tomorrow at around like 5:30 it will end, and you can comment as much as you want. But I'm going to do a $25 Amazon gift card because I think that that's the best place to make choices is on Amazon. So anyway, so start commenting those little choices that you're going to start making that are intentional, that you are going to take responsibility for whatever happens, that you're excited about, and give yourself that little challenge period. I want to see some comments. Again, you have 24 hours to comment. Then I'll put everybody that comments into a drawing for an Amazon gift card. So that will be exciting. And thanks for attending this mini series. Again, my name's Robin Whitworth, and we'll see you next week.